to not have complete faith in chanting the holy name, and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnavas must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the call this morning?
हरे कृष्ण ज्योति माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय। प्रीतिदासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Devi Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you for joining the call and giving your association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania, and it's so sweet to see you doing the service this morning, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Tiffany Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinta Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for joining the call and be always supportive to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. This is Aditi Devi Dasi from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Aditi Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your valuable association today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Yashomati Mataji. All glories to Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for giving your association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, nice to see you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Sri Shamavali Devidasi from Charlotte. Nice to see you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Shamagari Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for giving your valuable association this morning and inspiring all of us. Mataji, I'm not initiated and you are not supposed to give me dandavats. I will forward that to Guru Maharaj to your
Very soon you will be initiated. No problem.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for blessings. May I know anyone who would like to join and introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for joining the call this morning and giving your valuable association today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Vinita Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for giving your valuable association today this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Jyoti Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna, this is Banbhyani Devidasi from Toronto. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Ban Biharini Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for joining the call today and giving your valuable association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. This is Anita Ramya from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. And pranams to you. Thank you for joining the call and giving your valuable association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you, Mataji. Welcome. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, your Guru Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajas. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Raleigh.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Devidasi Mataji. Dandavat pranam to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Thank you so much for joining this call and giving your valuable association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devidasi from Lincoln. Mataji, very nice to see you on the call. And Prabhuji is on the call already. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call today. We are very fortunate. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Dr. Keshavanand Prabhu. He will enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 4 and 13th verse. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before I hand over the call to you, I would like to hand over the call to respected Aditi Devi Mataji for brief introduction of Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to the assembled devotees, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. I'm very fortunate to introduce His Grace Keshavanand Prabhuji this morning. And this is a brief introduction. His Grace Keshavanand Prabhuji was a professional doctor prior to becoming a full-time practicing monk. For the past 20 years, he has conducted extensive research and authored books in the field of science and spirituality. He feels the rift between science and spirituality must disappear to bring peace in the world. Keshavanand Prabhuji has studied both Vedic and Western philosophy. Besides learning Sanskrit, he also learned Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, and Kannada to know about other traditions. His persistent endeavor in the field of science and spirituality has enabled him to come up with seminars of diverse topics like science and the Vedas, mind and machines, science fails to explain life, consciousness, and beyond, etc. That he has presented in various colleges in India, Europe, and America. Under the guidance of his spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami, he has also started a Gurukula, a traditional system of Vedic education in Punjab, India, where children learn the ancient Vedic culture and values. He has also started a farm community that follows a traditional way of living with mud huts and thatched roofs and cows, and of course, farming. The community will set a model for the world to show how to live a life based on the principle of simple living, high thinking. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Now I will hand over the call to Dr. Keshavanand Prabhuji.
Yeah, somebody can read the verse for me if possible. I don't want to do this. That's all.
Prabhuji. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 4, Text 13. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Antardeheshu bhutanam Atmaste Hari Ishvara Sarvam Taddishnayam Ikshadvam Evam Vastoshito Yasu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated as the Supersoul within the cores of the hearts of all living entities, whether moving or non-moving, including men, birds, animals, trees, and indeed all living entities. Therefore, you should consider everybody a residence or temple of the Lord. By such vision, you will satisfy the Lord. You should not angrily kill these living entities in the forms of trees. Purport: as stated in Bhagavad Gita and confirmed by all the Vedic scriptures, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati, the Supersoul is situated within everyone's heart. Therefore, since everyone's body is the residence of the Supreme Lord, one should not destroy the body because of unnecessary envy. That will dissatisfy the Supersoul. Soma told the Prachetas that because they had tried to satisfy the Supersoul, now they should not displease him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Just give me a minute. I'll just have to arrange things. So everybody can hear me properly?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So yeah, this is a verse. Actually, I just have to find. So Antar, actually I need to see the verse. Got it. Yes. मुझे verse है ना निकाल के. This is the. First. So this is the verse 6.4.13. 6.4.13. Phone me. 6 canto 4 chapter 13th verse, and this Antardehishu Bhutanam Atmaste Haririshvara Sarvam Dhishnayam Ikshvatvam Evam Vahas Evam Vas Toshito. Yes, I'll speak on this. That's fine. So thank you very much. You can just remove this verse. It's done. I have the verse here. Just get it out. Okay, so I'll just speak on this. Let me just offer obeisances. Om Agyanati Marandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Pracharnir Visheshunyavadi Paschati. Okay, so we're there. These are Hamsa Guhya prayers. And this is a beautiful verse, by the way, because it's talking about Antar Deheshu Bhutana. It's talking about super soul within the core of hearts of all living entities. Now, yeah, and it says Atmaste Haririshvara. What is this super soul? The super soul is Krishna himself, Hari, and he's Ishvara. Now, here's the point. When we talk about super soul, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 3 levels of realizations of reality. Bhagavatam says, Vedyam Vastavam Vastu Atra Shivadam. That's in the first verse. Vedyam Vastavam. Vedyam means try to know. Vastavam means actual reality. Vastu, what's a real object? In reality, what is the object we are looking for? That's Krishna. And it says, if you do that, Shivam, your life becomes auspicious and truthful. So this is what is Bhagavatam's reality. And then it goes to says that there are 3 levels of realizations of reality. The first is Vadanti Tattva Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajnana Vadvayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabda. So reality can be realized in 3 levels. One is Brahman, one is Super Soul, and another is God. Another is Bhagavan realization. So 3 levels of reality of realizations. Now, generally devotees are interested in Bhagavan realization, and that's okay. That's a Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding, God realization. But but actually, there is super soul realization here, there which is talking about. This verse is talking about when we try to realize God. Super soul realization is included in that, and Brahman realization is included in that. Super soul realization means that God is in the heart of every living being. So an example is given of milk and curd. So if you transform milk into curd and then churn the curd, then you get butter. But you have to churn it. In the milk there is butter, but you can't see it. In the butter there's ghee, but you can't see. But there's a process to take it out. Similarly, in all the living entities in the heart, there is super soul, but we can't see it. So we have to churn our hearts in the sense we have to have some realizations that there is God within our heart. And when we chant Hare Krishna and we practice nicely devotional service, then slowly we can understand that there is somebody inside us. That's the point. Just like a mother when they have the baby in the tummy, in the stomach, so she knows something is there in her stomach. There's somebody in their stomach. A father cannot understand this fact because he knows that there is a baby in the stomach of the mother, but he himself doesn't have any realization. But mother understands this. So persons who are advanced, they can understand that there is somebody else there in my heart. Just like mother understands or knows, actually not understands. There was one person, I think in Bible, they asked Christ that are you the Son of God? So he says yes. And then they asked, so how can we be so sure about that fact? So he said, I know it. I don't understand it, but I know it. So there are two things, you understand a thing and you know a thing. So we have to come to this platform of knowing a thing. Just like if I ask you, are you hungry? You don't say that I understand I'm hungry. You say, I know I'm hungry. Are you hungry? Yes, I know I'm hungry. You don't say, I understand I'm hungry. That's, if you say this, you will say, what was this, like foolishness. So knowing is the level of realization. And that level we have to come somehow. And Krishna gives his realizations to students who are serious in devotion, who want to advance. And how do we know? How do we know that we know that? How do we know that we know that we know that super soul is there in our heart? I don't know. I can say like that, but the point is, how can we know that our knowledge is true? That's in philosophy. How do we know that our knowledge is justified? So I can say, doctor, I know that I'm having pain, but the doctor might tell you, well, it is all psychological. It's not physiological. So sometimes doctors say that. Many patients, they go to doctor, repeat it, and they say, I'm having pain in my head. Repeated pain. The doctor does MRI, CT scan, everything, and there's no problem at all. And finally, he says to the patient, well, it's all in your mind. Just forget it. Because we didn't find any evidence in the scans. So that means, but the patient says, I'm feeling pain. I know there is pain. So that's the point. we can have realization that super soul is within our heart. We can say I know, but you have to be sure that this knowledge is true. So there are certain symptoms of a person who knows that there is super soul within a heart. In fact, Upanishads have, there's a famous verse, Prabhupada says, Tvasaparna Sayojya Sakhaya Samanam Vrikshe Purushau Nimagnau. So the Upanishad says that in a tree there are two birds sitting. It's a beautiful analogy. I used to read this many years back. I read this verse. Actually, Shankaracharya, one of the pet verses of Shankaracharya. Somehow I don't know why, but he believes everything is one. But still he likes this verse, and then he twists this verse. But there are two birds sitting on a tree. Tree is a body. One bird is soul. Another bird is super soul. And what is soul doing? Purushau Nimagnau. Was that? Justameda Pashyam Anyamisham. So one bird is interested in eating fruit, one bird is watching. But as soon as that bird who is eating the fruit, which is a soul, it turns towards super soul, who is another bird. Iti vitaraga shoka. All fear, all sorrow, all attachments vanish. It's a very beautiful verse. There's another verse like this. So I read this verse many years back, and I used to think, well, it's maybe it's just क्या हिंदी में कहते हैं ना गप है गप. I don't know whether you understand or not. It's all like it's a story, what super souls. First of all, the fact of soul is itself something mysterious. We are soul and not the body, and it's hard time to convince ourselves we are soul and not this body. And then there's another thing, super soul, on the top of it. So I used to think it's crap, but as we do devotion, we come to know this fact that there is somebody else within us. So what are the symptoms of a person who is at the level of super soul realization? That's the point there. How do we know that our knowledge is true? And Bhagavad Gita has a lot to say on this. Srimad Bhagavad Gita gives the symptoms of a person who realizes super soul within the heart. And the symptom is here in Upanishads, I just quoted, Iti Vitaraga Shoka. The two things you will never experience. If you're in contact with super soul within your heart, two things you will never experience. One is rag, that is attachment to this material world. And other is shoka. Shoka means frustration or bewilderment, you can say. Frustration or bewilderment. Or you can also say extreme sorrow leads to fear. So there is no attachment, no fear, no bewilderment, no frustration. That person cannot experience this because he's continuously in contact with super soul within the heart. And that person, he can talk to Paramatma within his heart. He can serve Paramatma with his own heart. And he actually, why the more you know that the super soul within a heart, there's somebody within a heart, immediately you feel secure. So just like suppose if you're lost in a jungle alone, there's a lot of fear. But if you have somebody else with you, your friend, just one person, you're lost and you suddenly find a friend. Oh my God, I was lost, I was so fearful, and you are there. And then all fear is lost, is it? That's how it goes in movies. Person is lost and he's lost in jungle and suddenly finds a beautiful female. And all fear is gone and then they live there. Jungle mein mangalu. He forgets everything. A beautiful female, and that jungle becomes very, previously it was fearful, but now it is so anukul because that female and you are alone in the jungle and nobody is there to watch, and it becomes a paradise. Previously it was a horror movie. When you're alone, when you find a beautiful female, it becomes a paradise. Same jungle. So similarly, without super soul realization, similarly we are alone. If we don't realize that there's super soul within us, we will feel frustrated, we'll feel sorrow, we'll feel fear and attachments. And suddenly we realize this fact by chanting of Hare Krishna, that there's somebody with me inside my heart, and he's so beautiful and so lovable. I mean to say, much more than girlfriends. Then automatically you feel secure with him, and you feel love because of his presence. So all attachments are lost, and everything, you become completely undisturbed, and you're happy. You can be situated in any situation, but you'll be very happy. That is super soul realization. That is a symptom of a person who has realized super soul. By the way, uh, when we chant Hare Krishna, we are trying to, I mean to say, there are various levels of chanting, but one level of chanting is we are trying to please super soul by actually offering our chanting to him. He's there with us. So just like I give example, you find a female and she's there with you in jungle. What do you do? What do you do with a female when you're alone in a jungle? What do you do? There's one thing to do. That's all. You love her. That's all. You stay with her. You kiss her, or whatever you want to do, and you praise her. That's why she praises you, and she might not praise you, but you have to praise her. So, and you please her. That's all, and you become pleased. That's it. So a person who realizes super soul, he offers this chanting to super soul, and in fact, in Madhva Sampradaya, it's a very important fact. When devotees, Madhva Sampradaya is recommended, when you eat, then you're offering that food to super soul in your heart. So great devotees and Paramahams of that level, they don't offer food in altar. Just like this, actually this story is the Chandogya Upanishad, Durvasa Muni. So gopis wanted to offer food to Durvasa Muni, and they wanted to cross a river, and the rivers was in, like, there was no boat, and so they asked a boatman, "Can you let us cross?" The boatman was Krishna, and he said, "No chance. The boat is out of order." They said, "Well, we have to go and feed Durvasa Muni, and that's a service." So he said, "Okay, tell to Yamuna that I'm a brahmachari, and she'll give the way." And Gopi started laughing. "Come on, you're a brahmachari. We know, what kind of brahmachari you are. Since childhood, you're complete crap." And so Krishna said, "You try saying." So they told Yamuna that Krishna is brahmachari, and gave the way. So they went on the other side, and Durvasa Muni was sitting, and then they fed Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni then they said, "Okay, how to go back?" Durvasa Muni said that, "Tell to Yamuna that I'm fasting." And like, in front of gopis, he ate all the feast. So Gopi said, this is weird. And Durvasa Muni said, "You try." And they told Yamuna that Durvasa Muni is always fasting, and Yamuna gave the way. And they went back, and then they told Krishna, "It's weird, neither you're brahmachari, neither he's fasting. So either Yamuna is corrupt and she's there with you, or if this is truth, then what's happening?" So Krishna said, "Well, this is the point. Durvasa Muni is fasting because he, although he ate everything, but he offered it to super soul within his heart. He didn't eat. You were thinking he's eating, but he's offering to his friend, super soul, in his heart. And that's why he said, I am fasting. It's super soul accepting this. And as far as I am concerned, I am brahmachari because I never enjoyed you. I gave you enjoyment by my association. So that's the point there. So many great souls and Paramhams, they don't offer food on altar. They offer directly food to super soul, and that is something that is called super soul realization. So of course so we can't try it out, all this. We can't just offer food to super soul because we don't realize anything about super soul. Srila Prabhupada, sometimes he used to eat cookies just like that without offering. You take a cookie, eat, and then say it's prasad, distribute. It just happened. So I think all these Kirtanan, Brahmanand Prabhu, and they were sitting, and I think somebody brought cookies, and Prabhupada took half of it, and then he said, distribute. So I think Kirtanan Maharaj or somebody, they told Prabhupada, it's not offered, and you ate it in front of us. So Prabhupada said, distribute to everybody, but don't give to him. Because it's not offered. But Prabhupada, he knows what he's when he's eating, he's offering to Krishna and Super Soul in his heart. That's what he's doing. His whole body is an altar. He's a walking altar. That's what happens. So Super Soul realization, that's Madhva, when he was I think 1.5, 2 years old, he wanted to take sannyas. 2 years old boy wanted to take sannyas. Madhvacharya. 2 years, 1.5 years. 1 year? Yeah, 1 year. He was 1 year. Just started walking. And he thought, well, I should take sannyas and protect my life and protect the world. And he was wearing a diaper at that time when he went out of his house. From Pajaka Kshetra's house, he went to Udupi alone, 1 year boy. And people in the way, they're asking, my God, such a beautiful boy, 1 year boy, you can imagine. He's saying, where is this boy going? And they're saying, oh my God, dear boy, kuchi kuchi and all this, whatever. And they say, what is happening, Then they tell you, where is your mommy? Where is your daddy? Where is your milk bottle? You should not be here. Madhvacharya says, well, you take care of yourself, your milk and your mommy and daddy. I'm not alone. Narayan is with me in my heart. And nothing is going to happen to me. That's Madhvacharya. So that is called super realization. Fearless. Absolute fearless. Nothing can disturb you if you're in contact with your friend. Krishna, Super Soul is our friend. Krishna himself says, what's that? Suirdam Sarva Bhutanam, isn't it? That's Bhuktanam Daksam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Suirdam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the well-wisher of everybody. Hirde Desha Arjuna Tisthati. I am sitting in the heart as Super Soul. So Hare Krishna chanting, it's possible to come in contact with Super Soul. Automatically you'll come in contact with Super Soul. You don't have to do extra endeavor, but the point is you have to chant properly. That's the point. So good chanting will lead you to contact with Super Soul automatically. But if your chanting is good and if you know what you're doing and why you're doing. And that is why here they say, the Supreme Personality of Godhead situated as Super Soul within the core heart of all living entities. We have to check the core of our heart. That's the message. That is the point here. The core of our heart. We have to see what is there in the core of our heart. In our heart, there's so many things. So many things in our heart. But the core of our heart, that matters. In our heart, there's so many desires and there's so many levels of desires. What is happening in deep within our heart? When you chant properly, you will have access to the core of your heart. You will have access to it. And that is the result of chanting. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. See that tesham sata yuktanam bhajtam priti purvakam. If you chant properly, serve Krishna, Krishna will give you an access to core of your heart, which is inaccessible. Even to Kali. Even to sit and Satin or whatever. Or Kali in our language. Even to Maya, core of our hearts is inaccessible. It's not accessible. It's accessible only to devotees who are blessed by Krishna. Even to conditioned souls, that's not accessible. And since millions of lives, a lot of like bad desires are being situated and in the core of our heart, and that is energizing and inspiring us to create so many karmas and getting entangled in birth and death. So as soon as you chant properly, a door will open in your heart and you will enter the recesses, subconscious recesses and the core, and then there you will come face to face with who you are, what kind of person you are, and then you can change yourself. I mean to say, you can change yourself if you know who are you. If you don't know who are you, then how can you change yourself? So that is the super soul realization. That is why it says Sarvam Tad Dhishnayam Ikshadhvam. Hamsa Guya prayers, he says, well, super soul resides in every living being, and Tad Dhishnayam Ikshadhvam. You should try to see him. Ikshadhvam. Try to see means try to know that he's there. Try to realize that he's there. What is super soul doing in our heart? Well, there are two functions: upadrashta and upadrishta anumantacha. So upadrishta means Prabhupada writes overseer. That's one meaning. Drishta means to see. Upa means overseer. But there's another meaning to it. Upadrishta means to see. It's one thing is overseeing. Okay, he's just sitting and he's watching everything. But there's another meaning to this word. Upadrishta means to see. Drishta also means to understand. So just like if you ask a police person to solve a case, so the police will say, okay, we'll look into it, we'll see into it. See into it means we'll try to understand the case. So drishta in Sanskrit, it also means to understand, and upa means near. Upa also means near. Upa means over and near. So there are two functions of super soul. One of the function of super soul is to closely, upa means closely also, to closely understand our desires. Super soul is trying to understand what really we want. That is why the core of the access to core of our heart is to super soul, and our core of our hearts, there's no access even to us. Only super soul and access, and tries to understand, okay, this is the desire of this living entity, and he allows a living entity to fulfill the desires according to their credits, and the desires which they cannot fulfill because they don't have credits, he fulfills those desires and dreams of the living entities. So that is the meaning of Pratishtha. And another is Anumanta. Anumanta means sanctioning. He sanctions the desires, what we want. He first understands, and then he tries to, and he sanctions it, and then tries to help us fulfilling those desires as a nice parent, as a nice friend. That's all. Sometimes he also tells us, don't fulfill this desire. But if we want to accept his counsel, then that's okay. But if we don't accept this counsel, then he says, okay, fine. If he's not listening, then, well, let me just help him to fulfill his desires. He'll learn himself. That is Upadrishta Anumantacha. That's what Super Soul is doing there. So Super Soul is not just inactive, a seer. So just like he's seeing a movie. No, it's not like that. You can interact with Super Soul. You can talk to him. You can do so many things, but it's not like Bhagwan relation. With God realization, you can see him face to face. Super soul, you can see within your heart. And the interactions are limited, of course, not so free as with Krishna. Sarvam tadhishnayam ikshadvam evam vastoshito esau. And by such vision, Prabhupada says, you will satisfy the Lord. So Krishna becomes very pleased with a person who sees him within his own heart and the heart of all living entities. Is very pleased, and that's what is Isha Vashyamidam Sarvam, that Upanishad verse, that God is everywhere in the form of super soul, which we will call as Paramatma. And when a person sees Paramatma everywhere, then he doesn't do violence to all living entities. He doesn't kill them, doesn't give them pain, because he knows that any killing, giving any pain, is actually giving pain to super soul. And that's also so because he has a realization in his heart that super soul is in my heart. So then that's why he can understand the hearts of others, and he can see, okay, super soul is also in the heart of others. So this is a verse, and I think I'll just stop here. Anybody wants to ask anything? One thing is there, that if you understand Super Soul is within your heart and is constantly watching you, it will save you from illusion. Because we forget that somebody is watching. But there's Super Soul with the right within your heart. You can not hide anything from Super Soul. You can hide something from yourself if you want, but you cannot hide anything from Super Soul. That's not possible. So he's there. Try to come in contact with him. Or Hare Krishna, anybody wants to ask?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such an enlightening class. So it is of the Lord, how we can get, give so many interpretations for that comparing. So it was really helpful to know how to realize the Lord. So the thing which you told was like, if we chant very intensely, then we can know the Lord who is at the core of our heart. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Devotees, and the forum is open for question and answers. So if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Yes, Shukakar Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Keshavanand Prabhu, Prabhu. Prabhuji, you told that Krishna never enjoyed in the Gopi Geet, he was only giving enjoyment to the gopis. But gopis were also selfless. They never wanted to enjoy. They wanted to give pleasure to the Lord. No? So what is that I'm not able to understand? Can you just explain clearly?
Yeah, Krishna wants to give enjoyment to gopis and gopis want to give enjoyment to Krishna. That's all. So
who is giving and who is enjoying? Or both are not enjoying. They're just giving and...
Both are giving and they enjoy in giving.
So
they don't enjoy.
Both of them not send direction mood. They give not for enjoyment. Yeah. And both are giving to the other person.
Yeah.
And they're enjoying by giving and not taking.
Yeah. And so you can,
because here in the material world,
no, you can understand it like this. Just like a mother, she gives to her child and she keeps on giving. She doesn't take anything from her child. But she's enjoying that. So similarly like this, so Krishna gives enjoyment to gopis and he becomes so happy in that. And gopis give enjoyment to Krishna and they do.
Because once Amoglila gave a lecture on what is lust and love, that he told the material world, lust means the person wants to show nicely, I'm fantastic, I'm like a hero. And by he's trying to attract that girl because his intention is to enjoy her. And that girl also want to loot that person. So she's also just showing so much things and trying to get the money out. So both are having a desire to cheat each other. It's just self-gratification. But in the spiritual world, it's telling both of them are not having any desire. Only they want to give pleasure to Krishna. So, but now you told that Krishna also doesn't want to enjoy. He wants to give pleasure. So I was not knowing who is giving and who is taking. Or both of them are only giving.
Nobody is taking, everybody is giving. That is spiritual word. Material word is everybody's taking, nobody's giving. It seems we are giving, but everybody's taking. That's all. That's right.
That means both are in selfless mode. Selfless.
Yeah, we cannot enter spiritual world without selfless mode. That's right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next is Balram Prasad Prabhuji. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Keshavanand Prabhu, Dandut Pranam, all close to Srila Prabhupada. Most of the times, Prabhu, I'm thinking that, most of the times if they say somebody says something, even a small thing, they'll tell tomorrow there is a exam. But that is in the Google Drive. Please don't open. Whenever you want to open, whenever you write the exam, open it that time and write the exam. But we will do is nobody is seeing. I will open it today and I'll see the questions today. Then I'll write the exam tomorrow. That is my mentality, right? But I was thinking about how do I, that means, if we are not even self-realized, we don't even know the super soul. But I was thinking, as you were giving so many examples, Kanakadas was given banana to eat. He went and he brought back the banana. I'm sorry, I cannot eat because somebody is seeing me. So in these two examples, I was thinking, then we can ourselves know, how do I understand? Is it I am self-realized, or how do I know that I'm really self-realized or not? Or I know that, as you said, very nicely said, I understand and know. So I don't think I know anything, right? So how do we differentiate that, Prabhu?
Well, we will not do sinful activities. We know that somebody is there with us. We do evil when we are alone, isn't it? Or we think we are alone. So if we know Super Soul is with us, we have peer pressure. Somebody is there with us. We don't do things wrong, and that's how we understand.
Crossing the traffic signal, the thief, the robbers, they don't even know that is somebody watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, but coming to our understanding, but still we don't do. That's the catch. I don't know what to do with that. How do we train our mind to understand that super soul is there?
We have to always remind ourselves by reading verses and then chant nicely. That's the only thing. That's only way to remind ourselves again and again.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. So next is Sri Hari Radha Mataji. Mataji, Sri Hari Radha Mataji.
I just wanted to know, you said at the end of your sentence when the class ended about Paramatma is in everyone's heart, and if we give pain or hurt one another, we are hurting Paramatma or something. Can you repeat that sentence? I didn't clearly hear you.
Yeah. Krishna says in Gita. Krishna says in Gita that if we torture our bodies or the bodies of others, we are actually torturing Super Soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, because everything belongs to him, and if we destroy in this material world any person or torture, and that means we are destroying his property, and that's why Krishna becomes unhappy. So that's the idea, and that's why in this verse it says that okay, don't. So there's advice for prachetas that don't burn trees and don't kill birds, because Super Soul is in their heart also, and he'll not be happy because we are destroying his property. So that's the point there. A person might kill somebody else, but he thinks, okay, I am this person and he's that person, I can kill him. But a self-realized person doesn't do that. He thinks, okay, my body belongs to Krishna, Super Soul, and my soul belongs to Super Soul. Even his soul and body belongs to Super Soul. So there's no difference between him and me in the sense that he and that even he belongs to Krishna and I belong to Super Soul. That's all. So in that sense, there's no hate and no envy, and he doesn't kill.
Someone who doesn't have that understanding and just walks up to you and just starts arguing and fighting and just loud mouthing you, that means that that other party is to that they're hurting Krishna, not you, right? If you stay quiet.
They're hurting us also and Krishna, both the parties they're hurting. They're hurting us and they're hurting Krishna. But if the person who is self-realized, he will understand that anyway, if I get hurt, it doesn't matter. Who am I?
If that person feels guilty.
But if Krishna gets hurt, then there's a big problem there.
But if that person feels guilty that this person always does this, walks up to and just starts fighting, and we are the reason for it, but we are actually not the reason for it, and that person feels guilty, is at that time also are they hurting Krishna?
So can you repeat? So we are the, I mean to say what's happening. So there are three people involved.
Anytime someone walks up to you and just like loud mouths you, screaming, yelling, and blaming you, fault finding, putting you down, bullying you, and you find it that you're guilty of it, because if you're not in front of them, they would not do that. But since you're in front of them because you work with them or you live with them or you're at a place where they are there and you have to work with them and they're doing that, and if you feel guilty that if I remove myself, this will not take place. So but in that scenario you can't remove yourself from that workplace or home place. Is when you feel guilty, are you hurting Krishna at that time too, when someone's yelling and bullying you, and because you feel that you're the one who's creating this bullying and making them
No,
yell?
actually, it's not like that. I mean to say, see, in material world, everybody's hurting Krishna. That's where we are here. If we would have loved him, we would not be here. That's the first point. So regardless of the fact we are bullied or not bullied, we are still hurting him because we don't love him, and we are in this bodily consciousness. So at that time, okay, if you would have removed yourself and this would not happen. That doesn't happen like that. You can remove yourself anywhere on this planet, but what is going to happen? That's going to happen either through that person or through another person. But things are going to happen. And person who is yelling, he's also hurting Krishna. Person who is hearing, he's also hurting Krishna. Until otherwise, either of the piety knows that they are contacted with Krishna. There's no point in yelling and shouting. That's absolutely ridiculous. And the person who's hearing, there's no point in thinking, okay, if I would not have been there, then this would not have happened. This doesn't happen like that. So both the parties are in wrong reality or an illusion, and that hurts Krishna. Krishna is hurt because he thinks, well, both these parties are thinking on mundane platform, and so both of them are in birth and death. So that's the point. If anybody is yelling at us, we should be least affected. That's the first thing. Well, I mean to say, if we would have removed ourselves, this thing would not happen. No, this will happen, and this is bound to happen either through that person or through some climate or something else will happen, some other person. So self-realized person.
Prabhuji, we
Didn't
cannot.
hear Prabhuji?
No, I think mute.
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
He got freezed.
Yeah, his connection is bad.
Maybe he got another call.
Could be.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
नहीं देख पाते ना।
Prabhuji
is back.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
12 कनेक्ट करूंगा
Hare
Zoom पे।
Krishna.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, you can hear me?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes,
Your
Prabhuji, we
video is
can hear
not on,
you.
but still we can hear you.
Okay, so I think I'll speak like that then.
Okay, fine.
So what I was telling, I just couldn't.
If
I
someone
don't
is
remember.
screaming at us,
Krishna will be heard in
Hare
both the
Krishna.
case.
They're torturing Krishna, he told. And when somebody tortures somebody, no, we're torturing Krishna also.
And I argue. Okay, just so can you? Okay, now you can hear me all of it. No, it's okay.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
what-
you. Can you hear us also?
Yeah, I can hear. What I was saying that if we are thinking that if we replace a situation and the situation would not have happened, that itself we are in illusion, and that doesn't happen like that. Whatever karmas are there, we will have to face it. So reality, so if we are in illusion, it hurts Krishna. Whether somebody bullies it or not, we can sit peacefully in meditation, but it hurts Krishna. He's not loving me. He's doing meditation. So the point is that the idea is don't try to replace situation. Don't do anything. Be satisfied in that very situation. That is self-realization. If somebody is bullying us, okay, fine. We should think, well, we deserve this. We deserve it. That's what is happening with me. And Super Soul is so kind that is giving me what I deserve. And that time will not get disturbed and nothing will happen. That is called Super Soul realization. So you see the point there? That's the point there. So
We deserve it means
Yes, Prabhuji, very well said. Thank you.
we deserve it means we have done something wrong. Suppose a mother-in-law is torturing a daughter-in-law. That means the daughter-in-law should keep quiet because I have tortured her as a mother-in-law. So she is coming as mother-in-law and torturing me. Like that, you have to keep quiet.
yeah, mother-in-law. This
It's
life
a
is
normal
not.
thing.
No, you see, this life is not it. In previous life, we might have tortured that living entity as mother-in-law, as wife, as some enemy. Something we have done.
Yeah.
So it's coming back in life in some form. That's all.
So it's like action, reaction, action and equal reaction. Like that, you have to take it there.
We get what we deserve. We get what we deserve. We don't get anything beyond what we deserve. That's what is the rule.
As you sow, so you reap. That's all.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think, yeah, Praveen Mathur Prabhuji is waiting for question answer. Praveen Mathur Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna, where are you?
In Charlotte, Prabhuji.
Okay. Fine. So
Prabhuji, in your lecture, you said that the function of the super soul is to fulfill the desires of that person, of the soul, by knowing the desire in the core of the heart. So can we assume that he also fulfilled Hitler's desire?
Yeah. Hitler, Krishna made Hitler. Krishna made Napoleon. They can't become Hitler without Krishna's help. I mean to say, how can Hitler kill 60 whatever, 6 million, whatever he killed, without Krishna's help, he can't do it. One person, he can kill so many people, it's impossible. So Krishna is doing everything, but he's tricky. He knows the purpose, what he's doing, why he's doing. Hitler wanted this, he did this, but Krishna also had a plan. He wanted to destroy sinful living beings. So through Hitler, he did it. Krishna did it. And when Krishna's purpose plan was over, Hitler was also over. He got finished. That's all. And he went to hell.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
used him as a nimitta matram, that instrument in you getting the things done, what you want, you get to Hitler. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Wonderful class, Prabhu, and thank you for your association. My question was in regards to the super soul. Is there any stage, like when do you realize only when you are advanced, or?
What's that?
I said, how would you realize, like, I mean, the super soul is within all of us, but is there any level, like, सिर्फ उत्तम अधिकारी समझ सकते हैं या anybody can understand this or realize?
Well, sun doesn't rise immediately. But there is dawn, and then there is sun, and then there is 12 o'clock, 12 noon, like scorching heat. So super soul realization comes gradually because there is a dawn, and we have some kind of realization that there is some power within us besides me who is in charge. And then there are deeper realizations that this power is all lovable and not just a power, it's a person. And then you go deeper, and then you realize that this person is my friend. He doesn't want anything bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
He's my teacher. And then you go deeper, and then you start have a conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
While walking, while lying down. He might not talk to you, but you can talk to him. He's hearing.
Okay.
And then you go more deeper, and then you feel safe and being loved and loved. And that's how that happens like that. And then you go deeper, and then you know, oh, this is Krishna in my heart. And that's how it goes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for that answer, and thank you for your association. We look forward to your association all the time. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Prabhuji, I don't see any more questions and the hand raises. I think the previous case of Praveen Mathur Prabhuji. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful enlightening class on how to realize a super soul. So it was a in-depth class, and we want your association in future also. Shukar Prabhuji, do you have any question?
Yeah. Keshavanand Prabhu, one question. Can I ask one question?
Yeah, ask two questions.
Gopi Geet, now in the Kartik Man, we were reading Gopi Geet. So when I read the Gopi Geet, I feel as if Radha and Krishna have, somewhere very close to the heart. So I was just hearing one Bridal Krishna Shastri, he's not from our Sampradaya, but he had told that जो भी Gopi Geet गाते हैं, Gopi Geet पढ़ते हैं, and then Radha Krishna, they like to hear this Gopi Geet. They are both are there nearby. So,
yeah, somebody is talking on at the back of us. So, वो जो भी गोपी गीत, first of all, Mridukar Shastri, he is not a person to hear. He is speculative. That's all. His Siddhanta is off. By the way, we everybody sings Gopi Geet, but actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that if a true devotee sings Gopi Geet, he'll become very sad because gopis are sad. Yeah, because gopis are sad. No.
Yeah.
Is it because of separation, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Prabhuji?
I think he lost his network again.
Hare Krishna, what Prabhuji said, the person who hear Gopi Geet, they become what?
No, Prabhuji was saying that Gopi Geet
becomes sad.
Sung by gopis when they were sad in separation of Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Not that.
He will come back.
Prabhuji left the call.
He left.
Maybe yeah, he will join maybe. Hare Krishna.
Actually, the ninth verse, Chaitanya Babu writes very much. Tava kathamritam tapta jeevanam kavi viridita.
Prabhuji has joined.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji joined. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Now you can hear me perfectly, huh?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, this was like crazy connection anyway. So yeah, so what I was telling that the true devotees, they don't sing Gopi Geet because our Aradhya are gopis. We worship them, no? Radha and Gopi. So do you want to see a worshipable deity sad? Is that devotion? That's not love. So Bhaktisanta used to say that actually we as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because our exclusive devotion is for gopis, we don't really sing Gopi Geet. But in Kartik, everybody sings Gopi Geet. So, but we don't. Ideally, we don't. But you can say.
Prabhuji, the ninth verse of the 31st chapter, Pratap Rudra, when the king was singing Jagannath Puri, immediately Chaitanya Babu got up and Aling and Kena would say, and he was so happy to hear, and he just
No, wait. So how do you know Mahaprabhu was so happy to hear?
No, the
उसको
description
आलिंगन
there.
इसका मतलब थोड़ा ना happy थे. He was happy with Pratap Rudra because Pratap Rudra came to a verse, Tava kathamritam tapta jeevanam. Because of that verse, because Mahaprabhu was thinking devotees are so magnanimous that they spread this knowledge because of this fact. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu Gopi Geet doesn't happen like that.
Okay, that verse he likes.
Yeah.
The meaning of the verse.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, do you have some more time? I think Prahlad and Prabhuji is having some question.
Yeah. I'm free. I don't have anything to do in my life. So
Thank you very much, Mataji. Danvat pranam, Keshavanand Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
I'm just, giving you a little realization, reflection, not a question. A long back before, I came in contact with Prabhupada literature, I had read a biography of a great man called Benjamin Franklin. And one of the things which I got was, he said that I have one principle in my life, and that is, I will speak ill of no one, and I will speak good of all whom I know. So, it stuck to me and so much. And then I said, okay, I'll also practice that. And as I started practicing like that, and I came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's literature. And after long, I have now realized that, he was looking at everyone as a super soul, right? He was thinking that I'm speaking good of anyone that is praising the super soul. So that's what I feel today, that, that is really true. And, because if you blaspheme somebody, or if you speak ill of somebody, if you shout, yell somebody, you are actually doing it to the super soul at deeper level, So this is really, very interesting that this gentleman had realized that so long, like that. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, Prabhuji and Mataji. Danvat pranam to all the Vaishnavas. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prahlad and Prabhuji, for that realization. So thank you so much, Keshavanand Prabhuji. The class is really wonderful with a very interactive session of Q&A.
Mataji, is there any question on the chat box?
Okay, there is one question. It says that Arya Prabhuji is asking, yogis who merge in Super Soul, are they come again or not? What happens with them? Yogis who merge in Super Soul, do they come again or not? That is Arya Prabhuji question.
Well, people who merge in Super Soul, so there's a verse, Yamadi Yoga Patay Kama Loba Hatmahu Mukunda Seve Advat Tathat Madana Shamyati. Vasudev says people who merge in super soul by their practice of yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, whatever, they get liberated, but then tathatma dhana shamyati, but they will never become completely satisfied and they have to come back in this birth and death. So until unless we don't achieve Bhagwan realization, we have to come back. No way that we're going back to God. So these yogis who merge with super soul, they get peace, but they don't get love. And without love, you cannot go to spiritual world. So you merge peacefully with super soul, and then peacefully you come back to this material world. That's what happens.
Prabhuji, yogis are Brahman realization, no, Prabhuji?
No, both. Some yogis are Brahman realization, some yogis are super soul, Paramatma realization. Depends what kind of practice they are doing.
Okay. But Brahman realization yogis, there is a chance that they will fall down, right? How about
No, Brahman realization, they are jnanis, technically, not yogis.
Okay. Okay.
And yogis are specifically dhyan yogis who are Paramatma realization. Both of them have to come back.
Okay. So Paramatma realized yogis, they will also come back. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what Vyasadeva says. Yamadi yoga pataya kama loga.
Okay.
They will come back. Without loving Krishna, nobody going anywhere, by the way. Without loving Krishna, all projects are fail. Moghasha moga karmano. Kavita says, Moghasha moga karmano. Number I forgot. All moghasha, all desires fail. Mog means fail. Amog means this doesn't fail. Krishna says, anybody who doesn't love me, all their desires, all their projects, all their knowledge, everything fails. No matter how much advanced in any level.
So, Prabhuji, one more question is like a Paramatma realization yogis, they, how do they go? Like we say, like Brahman realization, they go to the Brahman and they come back. And what about this Paramatma realization? As per Vyasadeva is saying that they will fall down, but where do they go?
But they also go in this what do we say?
Brahman effulgence.
What's that? What's that?
Brahman effulgence.
Yeah. Most of them also goes in Brahman effulgence because the conception of Paramatma of yogis. See, our conception is different of Paramatma. Their conception of Paramatma is ultimately impersonal because they think Paramatma is there and ultimately then it's impersonal. So they also go in Brahman effulgence and then they have to come back from there. Or if they think Paramatma is a person and they're meditating him on as a person, 400 form, so they get liberation, Salokya, Samipya. 5 muktis are there. Brahman realization gets Sayujya. But other Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Sarshti. These four liberations they get. So they might go to the same planet of God of Vishnu in this material world, Vaikuntha planet, just like Dhruva planet is Vaikuntha planet, or Shirotaksa Vishnu. They might go there, but then again they have to come back because anyway that's mukti, that's not love.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I don't see any more hand raise or questions in the chat. Thank you so much,
May I
Prabhuji.
add little, Mataji?
Yes,
there is,
Prabhuji.
there is a Bhagavatam sloks which says, Brahmaji's prayer, ye anya arvindakshri nittamani about avisud buddhe. Aruja prachan param padam patantyada anadruchi usmadante. So those who bypass Lord Krishna's lotus feet, they also keep on falling back. That was little realization I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. If Arya Prabhuji is asking if they got mukti to Vaikuntha, then are they stable there? Hare Krishna. Keshavanand Prabhuji. Prabhuji is not there again, I think.
If you're going to Vaikuntha, means it's will not come back.
No, the question is like he is asking if they got mukti to Vaikuntha, then they are stable there. Stable. I think Vaikuntha, when they go, that is maybe that's what Prabhuji has mentioned, one of the 4 muktis they get. Hare Krishna,
not
Prabhuji.
Not even a leaf falls from Vaikuntha. Not even a leaf will fall from Vaikuntha. It goes Vaikuntha means permanent.
Yeah, it will be there. Yeah, that's what Prabhuji mentioned now.
Okay, yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Now, fine, Prabhuji. One question is there in the chat, like if they go to Vaikuntha, will they get mukti? They are stable there.
No. Actually, you see, Vaikuntha, I'm talking about Vaikuntha in this material world. I'm not talking about Vaikuntha in spiritual world. So there is a Vaikuntha in this material. Sirodaksa Vishnu, that's Vaikuntha in this material world.
Okay.
So these yogis go to that Vaikuntha, but they get liberation. They don't have real love for Krishna, so they are there, and then they're still in material world. Then a spiritual world within this material world. So then they again fall back to material planets like that. But they have not crossed Birja River and went to spiritual world. That's the point there. So they come back because they have simply have peace. They don't have love. So after some time, they again come back, start their things, whatever they want.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Or in Vaikuntha, because they get association of devotees, they might develop love for Lord and then go to spiritual world. Real original spiritual world. It might happen like that also. Yeah. Are they going to Sirodaksa? Yeah. That's the point. They go to Sirodaksa Vishnu planet. So they're going to a spiritual planet. They're not going to a spiritual world.
Spiritual planet within the material world.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much for your valuable time and association. I think no more questions are there. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your such a wonderful lecture and your valuable time and association. We expect your association in future also. So devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha
Koti Vaishnavin ki
Keshavanand Prabhu ki Maharaj ki jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Nityananda, Gauranga,
Gauranga.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna.